So have you ever thought about going on a cruise with your family? Or maybe you're in the process of booking a cruise and you get to that checkout and you're looking at the final price and your jaw hit the floor? Well, in this week's video, we're gonna give you some tips and tricks on how you can manage the cost of a cruise with a family. But first, we're gonna go over a cost breakdown of what one can expect to pay when cruising with their family. So without further ado, let's cue the intro and let's get into it.
What's up, YouTube? Trevi from the Adventure Buddies, the modern travel family, bringing you another video filled with tips, tricks, and inspiration to make sure you maximize your next family adventure, like we always do here at the Adventure Buddies.
So let's start by looking at a hypothetical scenario for booking a cruise for a family of 5 in November on a Caribbean cruise. And so I did a little bit of math here on my phone. I'm gonna read off some of the actual costs. So for that stay per person, it's gonna cost you anywhere from $270 to $2,600. So just in the base fare alone, you're looking at close to $1,400 all the way up to $13,000 just in the base fare. So now let's get into some of the additional costs that you may incur. And so if you add in gratuities, because gratuities is mandatory per person per day, you're looking at anywhere between another $14 to $18 per person per day. So that's roughly going to be about $500-ish on top. And so if you're continuing to do the math, you're looking at $13,500 for a family of 5 on the expensive range. But now you're gonna have to include shore excursions, you're gonna have to include Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is not free. Those packages are about $200 per Wi-Fi account, so that's gonna add up. But you're probably going to look at spending anywhere on the low end to $2,500, depending on how many excursions you actually wanna do, to all the way to almost $15,000 for a family of 5. So that's about $3,000 per family member. So I'll allow you guys to decide, would you pay $15,000 or $3,000 per person for a 7-day cruise with your family? So that's a rough hypothetical, but now let's get into some of the nitty-gritties. We did say family of 5, and so that 5th person actually makes things more difficult because most of the cruise cabins only accommodate 4 unless you have to upgrade or you have to buy a second room. And so in our recent trip on Wonders of the Seas, if you want that full review here, click the link above. We had to get 2 cabins for our family of 5, regardless if it was even just a 1-year-old baby at the time of the cruise. So if you are going to have to add an additional cabin or you have to spend for an upgrade, that's going to be some additional cost to that cruise. However, if you are cruising with kids, well, I'll get to that tip and how to save money with kids here at the end. So while you're at this point, make sure to give us that big thumbs up and hit that red subscribe button for more travel tips and adventures. Without further ado, let's continue on with some additional fees and then some tips. Now back to the video where here we're going to start talking about tips on how you can save money at checkout on your cruise. Let's get into it. So tip number 1 is if you are traveling as a family, that means you've got kids and they could be eligible for an actual free cruise. So look for deals or look for cruise lines. If you want to know which cruise line is the best, click the link above here for deals on how your kids can actually sail for free, because that's going to be able to shrink that cost exponentially. So make sure to keep an eye out for them. Tip number 2, make sure you book your shore excursions as soon as possible. And we typically don't do them with the actual cruise ship because we could actually find cheaper deals. And so if you want a video on how we find cheap offshore excursions and don't do the cruise excursions, comment down offshore excursions and we'll make a video specifically just on that. And then finally, for our 3rd and last tip on how to save money on booking a cruise for your family is book early for the best deals. And you're going to want to book during off season when possible. So different cruise routes have different off seasons, so you might have a bit more flexibility, but you'll have to accommodate to where those off seasons fall. But we know that saving money and traveling as a family go hand in hand. So without further ado, I'm Matt from the Adventure Buddies, and hopefully you liked this video. If you did, please consider giving us that big thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button for more travel tips and adventures, and most importantly, remember, life's an adventure. Who are you going on it with?